On June 18th, 2014, a 54-year-old runner went out for a routine run in the Roaring Creek area of Pennsylvania's Weiser State Forest, a terrain he knew very well, but he never returned from his run. Welcome to Morbid Outdoors, the podcast that ventures deep into the shadows of the wild. Here, we unravel the mysteries of missing persons, explore spine-chilling legends, and share the most morbid stories that nature has to offer. From the depths of the dense forests to the highest mountain peaks, we'll uncover the secrets that lie hidden in the great outdoors. Join us as we navigate the eerie, the unexplained, and the terrifying. So if you dare, grab your gear and let's embark on a journey into the unknown. This is Morbid Outdoors. Hello, everyone. My name is Elise, and I'm your host. Now, I have recently recorded like 3 episodes in a row to save me some time. I'm going to be traveling this month, and I noticed that my sound quality does not sound like it should. I want to apologize for that. I think something happened to my microphone, and yesterday I spent like 5 hours online with someone troubleshooting software, microphone issues, and basically we determined it was an issue with hardware in my mic and not anything that I can fix myself. So I am mailing my microphone off. I just bought this last year. It's a really good brand. Luckily, they have a warranty, and hopefully they can fix my mic because this sound quality is not cutting it for me, and it's probably not cutting it for you either. And so I just want to apologize for the degraded sound quality. Hopefully by the time you're hearing this, I have it back and it'll be working better. So just please bear with me. I I want to put out a good show, and I think part of that, a huge part of it, is good sound quality, and this is not cutting it for me, so hopefully it can get fixed, but I will keep you guys updated. So today we're going to be discussing Weiser State Forest. It's in Pennsylvania and it's almost 18,000 acres. The AT runs through actually where the state forest ends, so that's pretty cool. It's got some of the Appalachian Trail on it, and I couldn't find any negative reviews. I've never been here before, but when you're out east, all the forest is kind of similar, so I can imagine what this looks like in my mind because I am from more eastern than Utah. And the reason I think that this doesn't have many negative reviews is because it's not like heavily trafficked like a national park is. And so you have less people being exposed to it and people not leaving negative reviews because most people that go to state forests love them and they go on the weekends and do light hiking or running like today's case. And so, yeah, let's talk about Weiser State Forest. Now, this state forest was formed as a direct result of the depletion of forests of Pennsylvania that took place during the mid to late 19th century. Conservationists like Dr. Joseph Rothrock, he became concerned that the forests would not regrow if they were not managed properly. Lumber and iron companies had harvested the old growth forests for various reasons. They clear cut the forest and they didn't leave anything behind except for dried treetops and rotting stumps. Now, you know, timber is a major natural resource for us, but we all know now that if you don't take care of it, it's not going to be there anymore. And so this conservationist, he was like a visionary. He saw we need to take care of this. So let's change something. And unfortunately, in this area, the sparks of passing steam locomotives, they actually ignited wildfires and prevented the formation of second growth in the forests. The conservationists feared that the forest would never regrow if there was not a change in the philosophy of forage management. They called for the state to purchase land from the lumber and iron companies, and the lumber and iron companies were more than willing to sell their land since they had depleted all of the natural resources of the forests. Now, this state forest actually has a cool namesake. The forest is named for Conrad Weiser, who was an important Pennsylvanian in colonial days, especially known as an interpreter and emissary in councils between the indigenous peoples and the state of Pennsylvania. I did a little bit of reading about him online, and he was a pretty interesting dude. So, if you want to read some U.S. history about Conrad Weiser, you should Google his name. He is actually pretty cool. So let's dive into the case. I know that a lot of you are probably runners or joggers. That lifestyle is not for me. I much prefer to just walk or hike. Um, I think everyone aspires to be a runner. I just don't think that I don't know. I'm not a runner. I used to run when I was in high school, and now that I'm not and I'm older, it's just not a great thing for me to do. But if you have any tips for how to get into running slowly, I will gladly take them because I'm always looking to learn something new. Recreational running or jogging ranks among the world's most popular fitness activities. In the United States and Canada, it's estimated that over 15% of individuals aged 15 and older engage in running. Running is also notable for its relatively balanced gender participation. In Canada, for instance, women make up 57% of runners, while in the United Kingdom, they account for 51%, and in the United States, 36% of runners. Now, I come to you all with a very interesting and sombering case out of Pennsylvania, and I'm doing this because his story needs to be talked about. This is a rare case that we usually see a woman in the headline. In a 2023 study by Adidas, 92% of female runners reported feeling concerned for their safety, while 38% reported having experienced physical or verbal harassment. Of the latter group, 56% received unwanted attention, 55% received sexist comments, and 53% were honked at, and 50% were followed. Now, if you watch any news, you know that constantly there is a stream of headlines about women out on runs that are either attacked, sexually assaulted, or murdered. This happens so often in the United States, and it's really, really sad. According to Road ID, 122,000 runners a year are taken to the hospital after being hit by cars. So, running can be a dangerous sport. It shouldn't be, but it can be a dangerous sport. And specifically, we're going to be discussing the disappearance of Michael Kenny. Michael Kenny was 54 and he was from Pennsylvania. He was a physical therapist, which is, within my realm, and I think that is such a noble job to have. So he went on a regular run in the Roaring Creek area on Wednesday, June 18th, 2014. The Roaring Creek Tract is located north of the borough of Mount Carmel, bounded on either side by parallel mountain ridges. It's a valley, and through the valley flows water of the South Branch of Roaring Creek. The headwater of the South Branch, Roaring Creek, begins near the eastern boundary and flows westward about 10 miles before it breaks through Little Mountain at a point known as Bear Gap. Now, I do have some negative reviews for this specific trail/area. The first negative review says, "Found a creepy note here, so I left." And then the other review says, "Horrible, no service at all." So this is a 15.3-mile out and back trail near Marion Heights, Pennsylvania. It's generally considered a moderately challenging route, and it takes an average of 4 hours and 49 minutes to complete. It's a popular trail for birding, hiking, and walking, but you can still enjoy some solitude during quieter times of the day. The best times to visit this trail are January through November. So Michael went out for a run on this trail and he never came back. Michael's family reported him missing after he failed to return from his trip to the forest, which was a place that he went often and knew very well. So immediately when he was reported missing, a search was started. And soon after that search was started, the Toyota sedan was found in the parking area at the Big Route 54 entrance with its windows up and keys in the ignition. But there was no sign of Michael. They found his car, but he wasn't there. And honestly, I think it's really strange that the keys were in the ignition. That is like, if he went out on this trail to take a run, if he got lost on the trail, his keys would not be in the ignition, they would be on his person. Search and rescue officials closed off the Roaring Creek tract of the state forest where Kenny was last seen and searched the reservoirs on foot with helicopters and sniffer dogs. There were more than 60 searchers that took part in the search. Nick Zulli from the Bureau of Forestry said, quote, "He's an avid hiker and runner, and we have been focusing on the trails in case something happened to him while he was out running or hiking." Now, the terrain that they were searching is pretty rugged. It's very rocky, and there are old mine holes and things like that with wooden boards over them. This is a pretty remote area, and there are lots of drop offs and ravines, and there's a lot of water, like rivers and reservoirs that they needed to search. So, to say that this search was challenging is definitely an understatement. Now, unfortunately, on the seventh day of the search, Wednesday, June 24th, Michael's body was found in the Roaring Creek tract of Bear Gap Reservoir in the Weiser State Forest. Searchers at the scene said a member of the search party from the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources actually found the body. County Coroner James F. Kelly said preliminary autopsy results showed Michael was likely to have drowned. The authorities suspected no foul play. A quick jog around the forest had come to a tragic end. The circumstances behind Michael's death are mysterious and largely unexplained. Many questions remain that have not been answered by the police investigation, like how did Michael jog around the trail near Bear Gap Reservoir and end up in the water? The autopsy said that he drowned and that there were no signs of foul play. But did he fall into the water or was he pushed? Some people wonder, not really I, but some people wonder if he intended to end his life that day, and that's maybe why he was in the water. Or was he running from something or someone? Personally, I think it's highly suspicious, like I said before, that his keys were found in the ignition of his car. Typically, and I'm not a runner, but typically if you go for a run, you're going to take your car keys with you and not leave them in the ignition. So that is a red flag for me. I just think that's so suspicious. I also think it's interesting that this very experienced person ends up in the water. How does that happen? He probably didn't fall if they didn't find any scrapes or marks on him to indicate that he took a tumble. The autopsy said, he drowned. So, how did he end up in the water? And something about this case really sticks out to me that there might have been foul play despite what the police investigation says. Michael Kenny's disappearance reminds us how quickly a familiar place can become unfamiliar and even dangerous. A routine jog, something he likely did countless times before, ended in tragedy under circumstances that still feel unresolved. The search for answers in his case underscores not only the unpredictability of nature, but also the importance of preparation, awareness, and caution whenever we venture outdoors. But beyond the mystery, there's also a legacy of a man whose life was suddenly cut short. For Michael's family and friends, the question left behind may never be fully answered. And for us, his story is a sobering reminder. The trails we walk and the landscapes we love can hold secrets that may never be explained. Michael Kenny's disappearance is more than just a mystery in the woods. It's a reminder of something deeper. Male runners, just like women runners, deserve to feel safe outdoors, whether it's on a city trail or a quiet forest road. Too often, cases just like Michael's are quickly attributed to accidents, but his story shows the importance of digging deeper. Could there have been foul play? Should more questions have been asked? Many believe so, and I am one of those people that believe more questions should have been asked in his case. At the very least, Michael deserved a thorough investigation, and the peace of knowing his story mattered. And his case is a reminder for us all to advocate for safety, for answers, and for accountability, because no one should go out for a simple run and never come home. As always, recreate responsibly and remember, Sometimes the great outdoors aren't always great. Thanks so much for listening today, guys, and thank you for putting up with my crappy audio for now. Like I said, I am a few weeks in the past right now for you, but I hope that my mic can get fixed. I don't love the sound quality. I am so sorry that this happened, and I have no idea why. So I wanted to share Michael's story today because I believe that there was foul play. And I think because Michael was a man, they just brushed it off. They didn't really look into it enough. And this happens with cases with female runners as well. But this, honestly, we see this happen less with men. And I think that's a big reason why this case was not investigated thoroughly. So, even though this episode was pretty short, I still wanted to bring it to you because cases like these still deserve to be talked about. I'm going to add my 10 essentials at the end of the show. Just a reminder, you've probably heard them before, but the 10 essentials are things you should always bring with you when you're recreating outside. And for everyone that goes outside, runs, hikes, walks, camps, backpacks, you need to bring something that is going to make you feel safe, no matter what that item is. I always have items that are going to make me feel safe. Everyone deserves to feel safe outdoors. And you can do something about it. You can be prepared. This is not victim blaming Michael. I'm just saying that as a female who goes outside a lot by herself, there are extra steps that I take to feel safe and to make sure that I can take care of myself if anything happens. So, this is not me trying to make anyone paranoid. This is just me sharing my opinion. Thank you so much for listening today, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to Morbid Outdoors. If you're enjoying what you're hearing, make sure to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platform. It's free, easy, and it helps us out immensely. When you subscribe, you get updates on our latest episodes, and it also boosts our visibility, making it easier for other curious souls to find us. Another great way to support Morbid Outdoors is by leaving us a review. Whether you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen, a quick review helps us know what you love about the show. Find us on Instagram and Facebook at Morbid Outdoors Podcast. You can email us case suggestions and your campfire stories at morbidoutdoorspodcast@gmail.com. Thanks so much for the support, and I'll see you next time. Now is the time I'm going to put in the 10 essentials that you need to carry with you outside. If you've already heard this before, you can turn the podcast off now because you obviously know what I'm about to say. But for those who don't, stay and listen. And I also have these linked in the show notes. Let's talk about the 10 essentials everyone needs to carry while they're outdoors. The 10 essentials are only the basic items you should have with you. You may need additional items depending on the activity in which you participate. Visit the park's website to learn more about the park and your activity before you head out. So, our 10 essentials. The first is navigation. Navigation systems are used when planning your route before your trip and when you need help orienting yourself in surroundings during your activity. Know how to use a topographical or relief map as well as your compass or GPS unit before going out. So when I say navigation, I mean you need a map, compass, and GPS system. Personally, I have a Garmin inReach Mini, and it is the best purchase I have ever made as it can save my life. The second essential is sun protection: sunglasses, sunscreen, and hat. Sun protection is necessary to protect your skin and eyes against harsh UV rays that are responsible for sunburns and skin cancer. Consider using sunglasses, sunscreen, and hats. Sun protection clothing, such as pants and long-sleeve shirts, can also help minimize your exposure to the sun. The third essential is insulation: jacket, hat, gloves, rain shell, and thermal underwear. Nature is unpredictable. Be prepared for sudden changes in weather conditions. Pack an extra layer of clothing that reflects the most extreme conditions you could encounter. The fourth essential is illumination. Lighting is indispensable in the outdoors where there is no conventional light. Items include flashlights, lanterns, and headlamps. Headlamps are preferred light source because they are hands-free. Be sure to pack extra batteries. The fourth is first aid supplies. Be prepared for emergencies by packing first aid supplies with you. Start with a pre-made kit and modify it to fit your trip and your medical needs. Check the expiration date on all items and replace them as needed. Consider including an emergency guide in case you are faced with an unfamiliar medical emergency. The fifth essential is fire. Fire can be an emergency signal and a heat source for cooking and staying warm. Pack matches, preferably waterproof, and fire starters. Those are items that can catch fire quickly and sustain flame, like a lighter. Familiarize yourself with the fire use regulations of your park before heading out. The next essential is repair kit and tools. This is something that I use less, but it's always a good idea to have. Carry a basic repair kit with you to help repair equipment. The kit should include items such as duct tape, knife, and scissors. Consider packing a multi-tool, a compact version of many tools that include a knife, screwdriver, can opener, etc. Be sure to bring any tools specific to your trip and your activity. The next essential is nutrition. You should always be prepared for the possibility of changes to your trip plans. Pack an extra day's food supply, preferably no-cook items that have good nutritional value, in order to keep your energy high. Salty and easy-to-digest snacks such as trail mix, nuts, and granola bars work well for outdoor activities. The next essential is hydration. Staying hydrated on your trip is of the utmost importance. Physical activity increases your risk of dehydration, which can lead to negative health consequences. If you're active outdoors, especially in hot weather, you should drink water often and before you feel thirsty. Prepare your water before you need it and do not allow yourself to become dehydrated. Before heading out on your trip, be sure to identify if there are any bodies of water at your destination that you could collect water from and treat using your water treatment supplies. The next essential is emergency shelter. Shelter is one of the most important elements during an emergency survival situation. It can protect you from severe weather conditions and exposure to the elements. A tent, tarp, bivy sack, or emergency space blanket are all lightweight options for your emergency shelter. Just remember that the 10 essentials are the minimum that you need to bring with you while you're recreating outdoors. Your safety is your responsibility while outdoors.